welcome to Nikon Report, your weekly roundup of all Nikon news and other photographic announcements that we found interesting. This is Konstantin.
And this is Becky.
All right, and the news of the day is
that the Nikon UK shipment is currently stuck on the border.
On the border.
On the border, what does that mean? Well, due to this remarkable thing called Brexit, our shipments coming from Nikon Europe, as many of you will know, stock comes through the Netherlands from Japan or Thailand or wherever it comes from. It all goes to the Netherlands, and from the Netherlands it then goes to its respective countries. Now, because the UK has left the EU, we are currently waiting for our shipment to clear border control. The official statement is as follows: the shipment of orders to the United Kingdom are temporarily on hold. Your order will be shipped once the border issue between continental Europe and the United Kingdom improves. An email notification will be sent to you as soon as shipping resumes.
So any year now?
Any month now. Hopefully we will get some more news, and obviously we will update you as we find out more. But it does mean that shipping, particularly of new pre-release or early release items, will be a little bit delayed. So expect some delays. How many times can I say the word delay?
In the meantime, reintroduce yourself to your old equipment.
Delays.
Rediscover it again and set it up as a January challenge.
Just like our live stream on Friday. I
That's
say
right.
Our live stream.
I was there.
You were there in spirit and on the chat. Okay, so what's up next?
What's up next? Well, as we all knew, Nikon had regional warranties on their cameras and international warranties on their flash guns, lenses, and some other accessories. From January 2021, Nikon is transitioning from international warranties to regional warranties.
Ooh.
What that means that if you bought an equipment with international warranty inside the box, your warranty will be still international and it will be valid throughout the period of
Warranty warranty period.
The warranty
will be valid.
period. But if you bought an equipment with a different warranty card, regional warranty card, that means that unfortunately you will be tied up to your region where you can service your equipment.
Right. So, for example, if you were to buy now a 50mm lens and it had a regional warranty card in the box,
that means you're tied up to your region. So you can only service it in the region where you bought it. So I assume that European warranty still applies to UK.
Yes, for the time being.
For the time being at least. So that will be fine. However, if you bought, let's say, some old D lens, and it may still have the international warranty in there,
Yes.
you can take it pretty much into any Nikon Service Centre in the world, and they should honor it.
I wonder if that has something to do with trying to solve the grey import issue that Nikon have often encountered.
It does sound like it.
Yeah, because for those that don't know what grey import is, essentially retailers that aren't official Nikon UK stockists might find their stock from other regions such as India or even America or Canada, and then they sell them in the regions that they weren't designed for originally. Now, for camera bodies, it's always been fairly easy to differentiate. Cameras from different regions often have different serial numbers, or at least starting serial numbers, and you can only ever take those cameras into a official Nikon Service Centre from the region that the camera came from. So Nikon could easily identify where the cameras came from. With lenses, it was a bit trickier because, of course, the warranties were international. So I think this maybe solves that problem for Nikon. And certainly for us official retailers as well, because it means that if someone tries to compare our stock with that of a grey importer, we can obviously quite clearly say,
Absolutely.
if you buy it from this place and it comes from another region, you won't be able to get it repaired by us. So there we go.
That's true. Nikon's statement on this is until now, Nikon has attached international warranty to their lens and accessories. However, with differences in regional laws and safety standards, it has become quite difficult to maintain a single international warranty that is effective around the world. They have considered a variety of options, but ultimately decided to begin with gradual transition from international warranties to regional warranties from January 2021.
There we go. So if you need more information regarding the change of warranty, there will be a link below, or do check the podcast notes if that's how you're listening to us.
Absolutely. And in the link below, don't forget to subscribe and follow us on whatever channels you find us at.
Yes, it is very important to us that you subscribe, because apart from the fact that it is entirely free and takes all of about 2 seconds to do, it also shows us that you appreciate the content that we're putting out and that it's worth us putting more time and energy into taking a little bit of time out of our workday to create these sorts of posts, content, etc., just for you. So please do so. Over to you. Right. Can we move on to the next bit now?
All right.
This is quite shocking news, I would
Yeah,
say.
we had the tip from our customer, and then you've done some investigative work.
I did some investigative reporting. So thanks to Mike Powell for bringing this to my attention. A little while back, Nikon sent me an email to say that one of their manual focus AIS lenses was discontinued. I now actually cannot remember which one it was because it was an odd one. But he brought to our attention a link, which we will include in the notes for this for today's broadcast, from a forum called Netgear, where they pointed out that on the Nikon Japan website, there is an entire list of lenses that are marked down as unavailable from Nikon Japan. So the actual line on the page says the products listed here are no longer available in Japan.
Old lenses.
And translates to old lenses, which
AKA
we then
discontinued.
Which is interesting because actually the link literally translates to discontinued F-mount lenses.
Uh-huh.
That was my Japanese that I polished off there for that.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Yes. Anyway, so the lenses include the likes of the 10 to 24 and 12 to 24 DX.
Okay.
17 to 55.
Those are still current in UK.
They are. The 17 to 35 f2.8D.
Okay.
AFS, which obviously is an odd one because it was discontinued and then not, and then
they revived it.
They revived it for a while. Others that I knew about, however, the AFS 24 to 70 f2.8G, not the VR version, is on their list of discontinued lenses.
Okay. That's an interesting one.
Which is an interesting one and a bit of a surprise.
And another one was 85 VR.
85 macro, yeah, that's also a DX lens, 3.5. So now on the Nikon Japan website, and we will pop the link below, you'll have to probably use a translating browser to read it, unless your Japanese is better than mine. You will be able to see the full list of what they consider current lenses and what they consider discontinued lenses. On that list includes all of the D lenses and also the AIS lenses. So the likes of the 20, the 24, the 28, the 51.2, the 55 macro. There were a lot of manual focus lenses which have now been marked as discontinued, and the DC, defocus control lenses.
Okay, so there's quite a lot of information to deal with.
Yes.
What does it mean for us, folks,
so
in UK and let's say North America?
This is a very good question. So at the moment, I'm seeing that there are a lot of these lenses still in stock in Nikon Europe, which means that for the time being, we should still be able to get them. But it does mean that if they're out of stock in Europe, we are likely to see them discontinued in Europe not long after. It's a similar situation with the F6, where they started showing less and less stock.
That's true.
And then eventually it just came out that they were discontinued. There was an email sent by a staff member at Nikon Europe to our lovely customer who informed us of this, saying this lens is no longer available and will soon be discontinued in Europe. That was for the 50mm 1.2. So that does mean that we will probably see a discontinuation of a lot of these in the near future.
So while it's not 100% confirmed, they are discontinued in Japan already.
Yes.
So we might see them discontinued here and in North America as well. So if any of these lenses that we mentioned, if you still want one brand new, it might be worth considering buying one as soon as possible, because it seems like we won't see them
for much longer. I think that's a good heads up. Thanks, Con.
Summed it up for you.
That's right. What's up next?
I was surprised actually to see 85 3.5 VR on that micro. It's really
lens.
strange. Yeah, 12-24 I can expect, but 10-24 is more or less recent one. 85 came out about 3 years ago.
No, it was about 8 years ago.
Time flies, isn't it?
It really does.
It's true.
It's like someone said the 200-500 had just come out. I said, no, it's about 5 years old.
And it's interesting because there are lots of, I can see that D lenses being discontinued. They've been out for a while, but a lot of DX lenses are being discontinued. Do you think we're starting to see the shift towards either full frame or mirrorless space?
I think that they're now very carefully considering what lenses they're making for the DX system. I noticed that all of the lenses, not all, but the majority of lenses are plastic mount. So I think that they're probably lowering the costs of DX production.
True.
For F mount. In terms of the full frame lenses, I think they're mostly trying to kind of consolidate the range a little bit and make it a very clear decision. The wide angle one is interesting because The 10-24, 12-24 are the only wide-angle lenses that still work with some of those older bodies.
That's true, because the new 10-20 is AFP lens.
Yeah.
So it's not compatible with very early cameras. Well,
Exactly.
basically not the last 2 generations or so.
No, and also the 55-300, the AFS
yes.
DX,
Yeah,
that was
VR.
discontinued a little while ago.
That's true. That was a nice lens.
It was.
I
and
preferred over 70-300 AFP.
Yes, and now we've got the 70-300 AFP.
True.
Plastic mount.
Plastic.
DX lens. So it's very interesting to kind of look at what Nikon are doing with the DX range. I think they're kind of pigeonholing it a little bit and putting it into a particular budget. Those lenses are very cheap to make. They're also not expensive to buy. And I think that's where it comes down, what it comes down to ultimately.
Well, let me make a prediction.
Okay.
I think that we will see the shift of DX F-mount to DX mirrorless.
I think that's a good call.
New cameras will be released.
I hope so.
Z30, 40, and probably a lot more DX lenses.
You're calling Z30 and 40, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, when we hear about it, we'll tell you first. So, subscribe. So smooth.
All right. So those were the main news of the week. Now, one of the charitable things that Nikon does is Nikon Europe and NIKKOR Academy are delighted to announce their first online workshop. It will start in spring 2021. It's going to be a masterclass and you can apply for it. What NIKKOR Academy does, it supports young photojournalists around the world, whether workshops or some sort of tuitions, etc., etc. So again, it's a nice thing that Nikon does on the side. In previous podcasts, we talked about National Gallery, a deal that they had.
In other news, the Nikon F3 has just celebrated its 40th anniversary.
40 years old.
So it came out in 1980 and we've just had its 40th year.
Just quick math for you.
Thank you. And the Nikon Museum in Tokyo have created a limited edition, brand new 40th anniversary quilting case for the F3. You don't have to put your F3 in it, but it is a very smart little lens or camera wrap or pouch.
Looks lovely, isn't it?
It does
very
look
vintage.
very nice. And it comes out at about 1,500 yen, which is...
Which it translates to about £11 plus shipping and taxes.
Bargain,
Yep.
I would say. So do check out the Nikon Museum store. They do have all kinds of little unique merchandise, tote bags, and
Tote bags, beanies,
stationery,
coffee mugs.
nice things there. So we thought that deserved a little mention just because the F3 turned 40.
I think I might order one myself.
Super numbers are out.
November numbers are out. Everything is down.
Boo.
Boo. DSLR are down by 60,000 units compared to October. Mirrorless are down 39,000 units. However, November is the second best month of the year.
That's saying something. What is that saying? The cumulative mirrorless cameras shipped is 246%
Of DSLR shipments.
of DSLR shipment value.
So again, mirrorless...
Definitely dominating the market there.
Absolutely.
Wow.
DSLRs are shrinking.
It does seem to be that way.
I think so. I think the next one is going to be a big one because we're going to have December numbers and we're going to have full 2020 numbers.
Yeah, so we'll be able to see the full year in review and also see how everything that was going on in the world affected what we normally expect to be quite a good month.
What was happening in the world?
What
did I miss?
There was a little thing, lockdown and
Brexit
and things. There were so many things.
Positive.
Positive thing.
Positive.
The ultimate thing to take away from this is to keep calm and carry on.
Absolutely. But looking at those numbers, the trend is very clear.
Yes.
DSLRs are down, shipments of mirrorless are up.
And I think that's what one has to take away from these things. It's not, it's all doom and gloom, but actually, look how the mirrorless system is dominating the DSLR market and where the world is kind of going. It's actually incredible how, if you look at the link that we're going to pop below, it's incredible how much of the market is taken up by mirrorless.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously it's a completely new market. Obviously, there are a lot more DSLRs in the world.
Yes,
since they had like 70, 80 years, and obviously digital has been out for about 20 years.
Yeah.
But it's as kind of a comparison, I would say, like if you look at EV car market, the electric cars, you can see the numbers are going up because there's such a small percentage of them out in the world that every month the shipments are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The same with the mirrorless system.
Yeah.
We start to see that mirrorless is starting to sell more just because it was a niche. It's getting bigger and bigger because it's a new technology, new product.
Exactly. And more people are kind of buying into it now, particularly now that Nikon have been established as a mirrorless camera producer for nearly 2 years.
Yes.
2 years?
We're already on the second generation of mirrorless cameras from Nikon.
Exactly. We will be doing reviews on those when we can get our hands on them, but they're stuck at the border at the moment.
In other news, CES show in Las Vegas, which is online only this year, starts on Monday this week.
That's right, which if you're watching on a Tuesday is yesterday for people of the future. Consumer Electronics Show 2021, we only have the schedule for Monday.
Yes.
So Nikon were not presenting on Monday, we know that for sure. However, we have seen lots of speculation as to whether or not we'll see a new camera. We don't know anything, but...
Well, it's either this month on CES.
Yeah.
Then we have the Japan show in February.
That's right.
And photography show in March, right?
There's plenty of opportunities to see a new release. So
the window of opportunity.
That's right. So keep an eyeball on the schedule for the Nikon presentations. Nikon do normally also then put their recordings of their live presentations online so that you can see them on their website at a later stage. But if you just type in CES 2021, you'll be able to find all of the events as they're happening there. First virtual photography show, what do you think? How does that work? It's a very different experience to going to a photography show.
I'm going to be glued to my screen.
I think that's it, isn't it? It's just people are going to have to watch endlessly.
Well, a lot of people have a lot of time on their hands. So
I wonder why.
If you are one of those people, definitely check them out.
Okay, so Nissi has officially announced its 15mm f4 wide-angle manual focus lens, full
Ultra
frame,
wide-angle lens.
for the Z mount.
Yes, we've mentioned Nissi before.
We have.
They designed a filter holder for 14 to 24mm lens.
Yes.
And now they released their 15mm f4 lens. For that, the more the merrier, as we discussed. I think it's a second or third-party lens that's been released for mirrorless Nikon Z system. What's good about this lens?
Let me read the spec sheet because I don't know.
It's wide.
We know that it's wide and it's a wide prime.
Yes.
Whether or not it's going to be anything like... I suppose the other good thing about it is it's quite small.
Yes, I think it's a manual focus lens. But because it's small, it's also very light, 470 grams.
Exactly. And it gives a 112-degree angle of view. That's
pretty good.
Which is very handy. It goes up to f22, so probably very useful for landscapes and astrophotography, maybe.
That's true. MTF charts for this lens are out, so if you like to read them and look at them, do go to Nissi website and have a look at them.
Yes, and you can also find the whole load of lens specs on the Nikon Rumors site as well as Nissi.
It is on Nikon Rumors. It is also on Photo Rumors and DP Review
as well as itself. It has one double-sided aspherical element and two extra low dispersion elements. It's interesting.
Lots of elements.
It's got some elements in it.
Lots of coatings.
Don't know about that. I didn't read.
Do they have another coating?
Nissi, I don't know, but it does look like they're doing a Sony mount, a Canon, a Nikon Z, and a Fuji X mount. So
it's a good way to design a lens, isn't it?
Exactly, just alternate the mounts. This is one of the things about third-party lenses is that they can design one lens and then just change the mount. I'm sure it's more complicated than that, but it does mean that you can kind of cater to a variety of photographers. Sirui has announced a 24mm f2.8 1.33 times anamorphic APS-C lens for the Nikon Z mount.
Yes, so anamorphic lens means it's for video work.
Mm-hmm.
It stretches the image wide.
Yeah, right.
So you get this, when you compress it together later on, you get those oval-shaped bokeh. So it gives this really nice cinematic views. There's quite a lot of feature films that have been filmed with those type of lenses. If you're not sure what effect looks like, go to their website and have a look at the show reel. Generally, it makes your lights also, you get those lines, the beautiful lines from light. So
the kind of like flare, banding flare. Yeah,
it's been used a lot in feature films and music videos nowadays.
Yeah, so that's a nice way to give your videos a more cinematic look, particularly if you're shooting with a Z6, for example, for movie.
Yeah, they also have 35 and 50mm anamorphic lenses available as well.
Great.
So if you're into video side of things, that's an interesting option.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out. And as we say, more the merrier. The more lenses and equipment that is Z compatible, the better as far as we're concerned.
Absolutely.
What's up next?
Capture One will add support for Nikon Z6 Mark II and Z7 Mark II at the end of this month.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. I'm not sure why it takes 2 months for the company to release an update for the cameras that came out 2 months ago.
No.
But this is happening. They're also raising their price on 11th of January, which is tomorrow.
Or today, if you're watching this on a Tuesday.
So very good news for Capture One. I'm not going to say anything else because this is just...
Why are they increasing their price?
Because they think they can get away with it.
What is so good about Capture One?
Well, Capture One is being used by professional photographers mainly in fashion industry.
Right.
Or studio setups where you shoot in tethered to the laptop.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much if you're in this type of work, you have to know Capture One, even if you're assistant to a photographer.
Okay.
It is a very niche audience. Compared to, let's say, Lightroom, which is widely spread, Capture One has this specific use. Obviously, Capture One came out when the medium format bags were out.
Right.
So that was software designed for them. It's very good software. It's being used by lots of photographers nowadays.
Yeah, we have a lot of clients who recommend it to me, but I've never used it.
But they came from the point of, that was used for this specific environment, and it's primarily was designed to start with for tethering. Nowadays, you got all the file management, all the color adjustments, etc., etc. Very good software. Some people like Lightroom, some people like Capture One, some people use different softwares like Foteini or Nikon software.
Or Affinity.
Affinity Pro, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why they decide to raise their prices. It's up to consumer to decide if it's worth doing that or not. You can still buy it at the old prices as we speak.
And if you were to buy it at the old price, I suppose if you were to buy it now, you can still get software updates for future models.
They came out with a new version in December, so Capture 21. So you still should be good for a year before you need to update. But I'm not sure why it takes company 2 months to release an update for fairly popular Nikon cameras.
Yes, I wonder if it's because Nikon didn't release a model for them to obviously, because they need to...
Well, Adobe came out with their support in December.
It's true. Only took them a couple of weeks to do it. It is a bit suspicious, highly suspicious.
I'm going to read their statement because this is fun as well.
Okay.
Here's the statement from Capture One.
Fun is a relative.
We've been received many requests for support for Nikon Z6 Mark II and Z7 Mark II. So we are letting you know ahead of time that we will now be adding support for these cameras after many requests. Well, thank you so much.
That's really, wow. Oh dear. It will also include various new supported cameras and bug fixes. So
fantastic. After many requests, thank you very much. I have no words for this. In nowadays competitive age.
Yeah, very competitive age as we live in.
You may want to release your update for reasonably popular cameras as soon as possible, and not after many requests by our customers.
Yes, I would say so. It does seem slightly bizarre, and I can think maybe they thought that the Z6 and Z7 II weren't going to be popular. Like, I can't quite understand the thought process behind.
So we'll leave it at that, I think.
Okay,
because I can talk more about that.
What really grinds your gears, Con?
It's going to be a separate show.
Right, and now for our review section. So what reviews do we have this week?
Bunch of reviews came out. So let's start with 51.2s.
Love
Foteini published their 51.2 review ahead of Becky's review.
I haven't done my review yet, but I love it.
All right, so what do they say?
So, outstanding sharpness, virtually zero chromatic aberration, excellent flare resistance, I can attest to that, excellent handling, quality manufacture, custom functions for the lens function button.
Extra buttons, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful rendition of light sources, virtually no distortion, beautiful bokeh effects.
Buy now.
Buy it now. The cons are high price and bulky. They pretty much summed up.
Fair criticisms,
I think that is a very fair statement. I will say I have put it through its paces for lens flare, backlighting. It is a background obliterator, and I love it. That is my review in like 2 words. 3 words. I love it. I love it. Yeah. 5 stars.
5 stars.
5.
Now let's go to Camera Labs. They also published 51 review, and they say Nikon Z51.2 is a big step up over the existing 50 and 58mm DSLR lenses. Literally, It is excessively big and quite heavy, but for that, it offers a bright 1.2 focal ratio, very good optics, and very good bokeh. They're very happy about it.
They are.
Pretty much, they say exactly the same. The positives are exactly the same as ePhoto-Z, and their bad points is large and heavy, expensive, no fluorine coating against moist and dust.
That is an odd one, to be honest.
Yeah, audible focus noise. Have you heard that?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
It doesn't bother me at all, but I do hear it. It is a slight, and it's more mechanical than an autofocus.
Mhm.
You know, it's an interesting noise that it makes. And they don't like the flimsy lens pouch.
All right. To be honest with you, for this type of lens, I would prefer they would put a proper either leather type case or
Yeah.
something well padded
For the price,
for the price.
I agree.
But the lens pouch is there. I don't know if many people use lens pouches nowadays.
I think
I don't.
No, I tend to just put my lenses into camera bags.
Mm-hmm.
So they have their own little pockets. I don't usually put them in the pouch. Maybe if I was spending $2,500 on a 50mm lens, I would put it in a lens pouch.
But if the lens pouch is bad, at least the lens is all right.
Exactly.
So let's talk about that.
Now, Richard Hoare
Mhm.
published his review on
Okay.
the 51.2 as well. Lots of praise for this lens. I will probably do my review in a month once everybody's forgotten about it. He says, this is the king of 50mm lenses. The fact that it autofocuses makes this a dream come true for some people. I think he's comparing it to the 51.2
Yes.
AIS.
Yes.
And I can understand that. It is amazing. It is an amazing lens by any standard, and it isn't expensive either for what you get. That's interesting. That money is not a small sum in today's economy, but people who make a living shooting at low light situations will want one of these. Astrophotographers will definitely want them. Events photographers won't consider other options if they've tried shooting with it. This is the best lens in its class. Wow.
To top of that, he also says it's a new benchmark for Japanese lenses. It will be the best investment you could make in the coming years.
Which I think is, and it's very interesting,
Yeah,
the
it's a
level
bold statement.
of enthusiasm
Yeah.
for it, particularly because the 58mm f/0.95 wasn't necessarily met with a huge amount of enthusiasm, mainly because of its price point.
Yeah, it's a bit expensive.
At $8,500, it's eye-wateringly expensive. However, if you want something that shoots at f/0.95, that is the only thing that is available to you. But at f1.2, and the beauty of it is that it's completely usable at f1.2.
And it's fairly close focusing as well.
It focuses 30 centimeters away, which, anyway.
You have about 1 millimeter of depth of field there.
That's right. And it does produce very interesting depth of field effects. My one lens challenge for January is to use this lens for January. So you're not getting it back.
Yeah,
I'm
not too
afraid.
shabby. Well, that's 70-200, so I can stick with that.
That's right. But it's a very interesting lens to have to use in every situation and see how it works when you're shooting everything from landscape to close up to portrait, etc.
And shout out to Richard Hoare's website, actually. Do check it out because it's called Richard Hoare's Classic Nikon Maintenance Site. So there's lots of information how to repair your old Nikons.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, I don't like to repair things without knowing how to do that, but he's got a lot of articles.
That's excellent.
So one of the articles for Sunday Read for sure.
Now, Digital Camera World also did a review on the 51.2. All of these links will be below or in the podcast
Do they like
notes.
it again?
They did like it, but they didn't like the fact that it was chunkier and pricier than the 51.8. Obviously. And the bokeh discs have a noticeable 9-sided shape when stopping down a little.
That's an interesting one. Have you noticed that yourself?
I have not, but I don't know. When they say stopping down a little, the most I've stopped down, I've used between 1.2 and f8. And I haven't noticed a definitive shape to the bokeh, but I will evaluate my pictures a little bit more.
Like, speaking of all criticism of size of the lenses, I personally think that we should have the best of both worlds. For people who want the image quality, and that's kind of the main priority, is that they don't care about the size and the weight, we should have options for them, as well as, let's say, travel photographers who want to travel light. So that's why we have 51.8, which is fairly small and light.
Very light.
And then we got 51.2 and, well, the 0.95 beast.
Yes, which does need a serious workout before attempting to take that out. There are also the pancake lenses on the roadmap.
That's true.
Those will be ideal for travel photographers.
The choice is good.
Yeah, and it will be better by the end of this year. Last review?
Last review of the day, DP Review published their Z7 Mark II review. In a nutshell, they're very happy with it, and they say, well, if you want a good all-rounder, go for Z6, but if you're a professional photographer who need high resolution, then go for Z7. If you landscape photographer as well,
Z7 II.
Z7 II is the right choice for you. Everyone else, go for Z6. Mark II.
Yeah, Mark II specifically. Then we have weekend reads.
Weekend reads.
Or weekday reads if you're so inclined. The Absolute Beginner's Guide to Film Photography Part 1. That's on the DP Review website. I like that.
Yeah, I should read that probably.
Now, you should read it because I now have my thermometer, my measuring jug, my various funnels. I have my C41 and all my developing chemicals ready for the develop your own film challenge that we will be doing.
All right, now I've got my V60 funnel and a little pot, so I can just, wet my coffee this way.
Okay. When the restrictions are such that we can do that.
Yes.
It's happening.
Yes.
It's going to be
hilarious.
Going to be
filming in the dark?
No. This is why I got a lab box for, so we didn't have to film in the dark.
Well, I did find my Holga camera the other day. So we can do that challenge for January.
Yeah, because I have the 120 developing tank, so...
It's happening.
It is. So if you are brand new to film photography, or maybe you used to do film photography and you need a little bit of polishing up, then have a look at the DP Review article that we will link. It's just an all-round good get-started guide. Another fantastic resource, which is not a weekend read, but more like a weekend watch.
Like a yearly course.
No, is if you head over to Analog Wonderland's blog, they actually have some very short videos that were created by Lomography, which are intros to film photography as well, talking about different types of film, different type of cameras. It's just that, absolute beginner's guides. So Analog Wonderland's blog or the DP Review article that we will link for you.
Sign me up. For people who are interested in what Nikon does other things than cameras and lenses, there's a small company in England which is called Mark Roberts Motion Control, and it's owned by Nikon. And they do produce those big robot arms for all the feature films and music videos, and also for sporting events. Becky went there a couple of months ago and she did some filming, so we're hoping to release this video about them sometime in the future. Yeah,
this was before restrictions and lockdown. There was a lot of stuff which was pre-production, which we weren't allowed to show, which has now become available, so we can show some of the cool stuff that they were working on.
You can also go to their website and read about them and what they do. One of the interesting things they introduced fairly recently is what they call Polymotion Stage. It's a massive truck with 360 room with about like 100 cameras around it. So what they can do is they can 3D scan any object or a person fairly quickly, and it's mobile.
Yes.
So that's an interesting thing they did quite recently. If you want to see how it works and what it creates, it's a very interesting read.
Yep, there we go. And the link for that will also be included. Now, last but not least, we have a video, rather than a weekend read, but a weekend video, a behind-the-scenes look at how Kodak manufactures its film.
That's for me. I don't like to read.
So, all audio-visual for you.
Yes.
It's only 8 minutes long, but it does give you the whole process and might be quite interesting for those of you and us that still shoot film. I say those of us, like... one of us.
If you want to have a very intellectual talk on the tea party with your grandma, tell her how film is being produced.
Yeah, I'm sure she'd be fascinated. I don't know why you'd have a tea party with your grandma.
That's what we do.
Can't do that right now.
On Skype.
Yeah. On FaceTime. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on anywhere where you're listening to this podcast, if that's what you're doing.
Yeah, do leave a review there as well while you're at it.
Particularly if you like the podcast. By subscribing, you show us that you appreciate what we're doing, and it makes us very happy to know that you enjoy our content, and it allows us to produce more content for you. So please do subscribe and do hit that like button. We would also love to hit 6,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel by mid-February.
Mid-February. Right for the Valentine's Day.
Right in time for Valentine's Day. Not that send us your love.
Yes.
That's what we're trying to say. So if you have not already subscribed, then please do before then, and maybe we'll do a little special something if we hit 6K.
Yeah, nothing to do with Valentine's Day.
No, not at all. Something photography related that has nothing to do with Valentine's Day. Yeah.